Ciaran Lynch.
Thank you, Ciaran Lynch. Maybe we need to begin by asking ourselves the question as to why we're actually having this debate this morning. And the reason why we're having this debate this morning is that for over a year and a half now, this government has shown general contempt to the Irish public, it has shown general contempt to the Irish electorate, and it has now shown general contempt to the courts, and that is actually reflected in Justice Kearns' ruling yesterday. Justice Kearns, in summing up his ruling yesterday, said that as far from the court tearing asunder the provisions of the Constitution by adjudicating on this by the state, it was the ongoing failure to call the by-election which offended the terms and spirits of its framework for democratic representation. And what Justice Kearns was actually saying there is that the government, through its failure to actually call these by-elections, is in fact actually causing a constitutional crisis. By not performing its own constitutional duties, members of this House and of this Parliament had to go to the courts to find redress from a government who wouldn't actually fulfil its own functions. So what we've witnessed over the last 12 to 18 months is that this government has been driving the Irish taxpayer and the Irish electorate through the courts at a cost, and at a cost that I believe the Minister and the Taoiseach should actually come into the House and explain how much this is actually costing to the Irish taxpayer. How much ultimately will this appeal and its ruling eventually actually amount to? Now, I believe we're at where we're at because of two distinct problems. One is a practice that has been developed by Fianna Fáil in recent years to suspend at all costs the calling of by-elections. And in that situation, it has created a legislative vacuum. And in that legislative vacuum, the reason why it has been created is because there has been an obvious failure to actually legislate for what is very much a predictable and solvable problem. By-elections are caused in this House for a number of reasons. They're caused by the death of a member of the House, they're caused by the resignation of a member of the House, but they are also caused following European elections where vacancies, such as the situation of Pat the Cope Gallagher, actually arose. These are predictable vacancies and a predictable time frame that should be actually in place to ensure that after a European election, if a member of this House goes to the European Parliament, that should be a fixable problem. And should, as soon as we come back after the summer recess, that member of the House and the seat that they have vacated should be replaced in September. That's a measurable, predictable outcome that should be part of the day-to-day operations of this House. Now, the Labour Party has made many suggestions on this matter, similar to what Fine Gael have been suggesting, that there is a reasonable expectation that a seat should be filled here within 3 to 6 months of it becoming vacated. But really, what is at the very, very heart of this matter is the matter of electoral reform and political reform in this country. And it's very, very notable this morning that the Line Minister, who has responsibility for this matter, is not actually in the House. In fact, he did not come into the House yesterday afternoon. He did not come into the House yesterday
allow
afternoon.
members to speak without shouting them down, please.
When the writs...
Deputy has 1 minute remaining.
Thank you, Chairperson. He did not come into the House yesterday afternoon when the matter was being debated under a special notice question. In fact, he was hiding outside the door to come in to talk about a very flawed mayoral electoral bill. And as soon as we had finished discussing the special notice question, he flew in here, made his speech, and whilst the two senior opposition spokespersons were responding to his proposal for a mayor, he disappeared out of the House again. Now, if we are to expect real electoral political reform in this country, the least we could expect is that a minister with responsibility for it would remain in the House while it is actually happening. Ciaran Lynch, in essence, we will never get electoral reform in this country if we can't get a government that will actually give us an election. Thank you.